Next question is, and I've seen this for the last couple months. It may even be the same person because the question is worded the same, which is, please set the confusion straight for somebody that's a complete beginner that's interested in strength training. You know, should they do conjugate? Should they do linear? Should they do whatever it is? And if it is the same person, I'm going to sound a little bit like a dick, but if it's the same person and you've been asking the same question for 2 months and you haven't even started training yet, then you're already fucking up. You know, so if it's a complete total beginner, there is no perfect program. Just go fucking train. Just start doing lifts. Just start doing compound movements. If anything that you search for beginning weight training is going to be fine. You know, if you want my answer for it, it's going to be train, 2-3 times a week, use compound lifts, barbell type movements, and master the movement, and then work the strength up from there. You know, if the form's a complete total wreck, it's going to be. You're a total beginner. As you get stronger, your form will get better too. So yes, technique is a huge component. It's something that I talk about over and over and over and over and over, because as somebody becomes intermediate, and our demographic is going to be people that put training as one of their top 4 priorities, and they have 5, 6, 7 years training experience. Technique's a huge thing, because a little bit off here and there is going to make a huge difference. For a beginner, a lot of the technical issues that a complete total beginner has is going to be fixed just by getting stronger. So if you can't squat the bar, you start with body weight squats. There shouldn't be that much confusion for somebody that is a total beginner. You just need to get in the weight room a couple times a week, start mastering the barbell lifts. You don't know what they are, squat, bench, deadlift, barbell rows, overhead press, barbell curls, close grip bench press, just the real simple core shit that you can find on Elite FTS, you can find anywhere. Just start doing those movements. What's the frequency? Who cares? You're a beginner. Do the same frickin' movements 3 times a week. Start light and just slowly progress over a period of time, and you'll get stronger. The last thing that you want to do, which it sounds like is happening here, is not do anything because nobody's telling you exactly what you should do, which is kind of bullshit, because who's going to want to even give a fuck and tell you what to do if you already don't have the accountability and discipline to hold yourself responsible for what you're doing? So that should be the question. If I see, if it's the same person again, the next question should be, look, I've been training for a few months doing this program, these exercises, and now it's starting to get stale. What should I do next? Because the question that you're asking right now is it's a very simple question that's rooted in just starting to do the movements. I don't know really where to go from there. If anybody else can help them out, post in the comments, but we all started the same way, man. I started with a cement weight set, I got for Christmas, and found a fucking book, and it had 40 exercises in it. I did every exercise every day. I mean, it's completely probably not what you should do, but most people share the same story, but I learned how to do those exercises. And I also learned that it was something I really liked to do. Then when I learned what I really, really liked to do, then I wanted to learn more about it. Then when I went to learn more about it, more of the answers started to come from there. But you go back into the history with most people, very, very, very beginning, it's kind of the same shit. They went to a gym, didn't know what they were doing, and just started lifting shit, and, watching what other people were doing and doing that. I think you're making it way too complicated, way too complicated. Next one is how to deload. Should you wait until you need it or anticipate it? Well, the answer is a little bit of both. If you always wait until you need it, you're going to be overreaching. If you wait until you need it, and then it's going to take longer to be able to come out of that point, you, the question with this that I always kind of fall back into is if your program is set up good, you know, then this isn't going to be a problem, you know, because it's going to be, you know, working in waves, you know, outside of the beginner, right? But even the beginner, over a period of time, the newbie gains are going to slow down, and then it starts to work in waves a little bit. If it's working in waves and it's structured and laid out as a decent program, half of that is, it's already, more than half of it's already solved because it's built in that way. You know, the other thing is life throws a lot of curveballs. So there's deloads that get thrown in with that as well. So structuring in, you know, and it's, how do you define a deload? You know, so if I look at training and I'm very conjugate based, very conjugate biased. So I'm seeing dynamic effort waves, I'm seeing max effort, you know, waves and structures, and repetition method waves and structures. They all deload at different points, you know. So if the dynamic effort's waving in 3-week waves and the max effort's changing every one to 2 weeks, then the repetition stuff's changing every 4 to 5 weeks. What do you mean by the deload? Is the deload like how often should that dynamic day change? Or how often should the max effort day change? Or how often should the complete entire program just drop down? You know, so it's a very confusing question to me, because I think what most people think is this is a deload week, I just need to go in and not just do light shit, which that's true, but what's the volume of the light stuff? Because the volume could actually be higher and the workload actually be higher. It's just a different stimulus and it's lighter stuff that's easier to recover from. So deload, my question, I guess, coming back is deload from what? The volume, the intensity, the workload, you know, what exactly? Because all these should inherently be built into a program. And then if you're using any auto regulation, which I'm a huge proponent of, you won't need it at all. Because if it don't feel right in the gym, you're going to know to back down, or you're going to know you need to, you know, pick your ass up and push through it. I mean, that's something that you can only learn over time and experience. Is, do you feel like shit because you just mentally don't want to be there and you just need a kick in the ass, or do you feel like shit because you really feel like shit and you don't need to be there? Knowing that difference, the only way you'll ever know that difference is for you to figure it out. You know, there's no, I mean, there are other ways, right? So I mean, I can see people debating with me right now saying there's different units that can measure this, 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 and this, and this, and this, whatever. I get that. 99.9% of the people are never going to have access to that shit. And then most of the time it still has its flaws, you know, so as does the person trying to make the decisions for yourself. But the longer you do it, the more experience you have. You need to figure out how to push when you're supposed to push, and when to back down when you're supposed to back down, and go from there. So that's my answer for the deload. It's probably not what a lot of people are looking for, but it is what it is.